Guys, welcome to our first laboratory assignment in Forensic Chemistry CTC 210. Now, I know what you're thinking. Boo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. I get to do lab online. I was looking forward to do lab with forensics in person. Well, I know, I get you, but listen, if I actually told you, hey, guess what? You're going to have to use real blood from strangers, you might get weirded out. Or if I said, hey, take this cup, go into the bathroom because we're going to use real urine and you're going to have to pee in the cup because we're going to test your urine, we're going to test your pee. Or maybe give you a stranger's urine sample that you were going to have to handle and do testing on. I think most of you would get disgusted. Or if I said, hey everybody, today we're doing tests on illicit drugs and we're using real samples. Some of you are probably going to go, woohoo! And then some of you are going to go, oh God, don't get near it. I don't want to touch it because I don't know what it is. My mom and daddy told me not to smoke. Okay, well, here's the thing. This is an online format of CTC 210 Forensic Chemistry, and we are using real samples, as you will see in this very first lab experiment, but I'm not completely removing you from the lab. You're going to have to actually come into the lab at some point in time in your own schedule, based on lab availability and your availability, to do some of these things still in person. Not everything that we're going to do is going to be in an online fashion, and hence this is the flavor of the very first lab. So the very first lab is actually going to be focusing on this personal blood type. You're going to be typing yourself. You're going to actually draw your own blood. Yes, that means prick your finger. And now we're going to prick our finger and we're going to type our own blood so we know what we have. Because I'm going to be honest with you folks, most people, they have no clue what actually their blood type is. No one's ever told them. They've never really had it checked. They've never really inquired about it. I mean, that's just the way it is sometimes, right? So we're going to force you to go through the motions of doing real blood typing, and we're going to have you type your own blood, which means we need a sample of your own blood. All right, so this lab is going to connect very strongly to the first lecture material. The first lecture module that you're going to find in the course will often deal with blood as a whole. So what is blood? What are some of the components of blood? How can we identify the blood type? How can we identify if it's actually human blood or something else? And then how can we actually image or see maybe blood splatter on a shirt or on a pair of shorts or on some type of weapon? Those are the types of things that we're going to be talking about in the first portion of the course. It's all about blood. So blood typing, if you've made it into that lecture material, will come in the form of either blood type A, blood type B, blood type A and B both, or blood type O, which means you don't get A and you don't get B. You don't have either one. So A, B, and O, you have one of those. And this lab is going to force you to go through the motions to determine which one you have. And then in addition to that, there is an extra protein that might be on the surface of your blood cells, and that protein is going to respond to the rhesus factor. So we're going to abbreviate that as RH for rhesus. Again, we'll talk about that in the lecture material, so begin to work on that kind of information. And the rhesus, you either have it or you don't. So what's going on is that you could have blood type A positive or A negative, blood type B positive or B negative, AB positive or AB negative, and O positive or O negative. You have one of these 8, and this lab is going to help you discover which one you have. So in this lab video, I'm going to sacrifice myself, see what I do for you and your education, all of the things that I have to go through. I'm going to have to prick my own finger. Oh no. Well, I think it's only fair, because if I'm forcing you to prick your own finger, then I should be able to do it too, and that's what you're going to see in this video. So I'm going to walk you through an example of how to blood type yourself, and I'm going to be using the things that we're going to be using in our lab experiment, and I'm going to go through the whole thing with you using my finger and my blood, and I'm going to blood type myself, and you get to watch all of that happen. And I know that you're probably going to sit back and you're going to grin and you're going to snicker when I begin to prick my finger, because you're like, that's what you get for making me do all this work. I know. All right, so what you see in the picture over on the right hand side is a blood typing card. Ours is going to look a little different, but what you're looking for is what we call the coagulation, and the coagulation is like a clumping. So if you see clumps, then that means that's probably the blood type that you are. So clumping is going to be the thing that you're going to be watching for. Clumping is going to be identifying your blood type. So in this anti-A well, we get clumping. So that means that this person is blood type A. In the anti-B well, over here to the right-hand side, I don't see any clumps. That clump I can easily see here in this very first well. I mean, they kind of stay together. It's clumpy. They kind of, kind of do their own thing. It's not completely in solution. It's not homogeneous. So anti-B is more of a liquidy, soupy-like sample, and I don't see any kind of division. I don't see any clumping. I don't see any type of precipitation that's going on here with anti-B. So that means that this person is not blood B. So just A, and that is it. And then finally here in this well down on the bottom left-hand side, you see that this is anti-D. Anti-D is the abbreviation for RH. So this is the rhesus factor, and this is either you have it or you don't. So in this particular blood sample, again, I see clumpiness, right? I mean, it's very easy to see in that circle. I see these blood cells clumping together. They're kind of falling out of solution. It's not homogeneous, very easily observed. So this is going to mean that I have the rhesus factor, and that means if I have it, that is a plus sign. So based on this blood card, that person's blood sample is A positive. Now, yours might be different, of course. Mine might be different. You're going to see what mine is throughout the course of this very brief, I hope, video, but we're going to walk you through the motions of actually how to do this on your own. In order to get this card to do what it needs to do, we have to bring in anti-serums. And you're going to see this in the video in just a minute, but the anti-serums is going to be kind of the reagent that is going to be needed in order to react with my blood cells the proper way. So we have a anti-A, and the anti-A goes into the A well. We have the anti-B, and that goes into the B well. And we have anti-D, which is the abbreviation for rhesus, and that goes into the RH well of your plastic blood card that you will be using. So anti-A, anti-B, and anti-D. We often keep these in the fridge, so they are preferred to be kept cold. They actually are shipped to us in a powder form in these dropper bottles, and then right before we actually use them, we add a little bit of water or some type of buffer to them, depending on the manufacturer, and then we reconstitute that solid into a liquid form again. When we do that, they tend to last on the shelf or in the refrigerator quite a while. So by the time that you get them, they'll be ready to go. Nothing that you have to do to them. But when we do order them, that is a common step that we have to go through. We call that reconstitution, and it's just really a smear of solid that's inside of these dropper bottles that just has to be redissolved and put back into solution so we can add some drops into our blood well. So you're going to be looking for 3. We like to keep these together. One will often be a bluish tinge, one will be a yellowish tinge, and one will be a clear, no color at all. So anti-A, anti-B, and anti-RH. So when you come into the lab and you're looking for these antibodies, you're going to find them in our refrigerator, where we keep all of our other reagents and chemicals. We have a designated section just for forensic chemistry, a couple of shelves that's in those triple door refrigerators, and you'll see that listed in or kept into a small basket. So grab it, let it come to room temp before you use it. After you get finished, do not leave it out. Put it back in the refrigerator, please. If not, it can ruin and it can spoil. All right, so with that said, I need to show you a little bit of a video. Audio quality is not very good. Sometimes it goes out of focus. That's just it's just me, folks. I don't have a professional camera crew that comes along with me in the lab, but I'm going to walk you through the steps that have to be taken in order for the lab to kind of go forward. And you're going to replicate these steps when you come into the lab in your own time and you're ready and you've built the courage up to do your own blood topping. So sit back and watch the show. All right, we're getting ready to do our first lab in forensics, and I'm going to ask you to make a sacrifice, and that sacrifice is to prick your little bitty finger, and then when you prick your finger, you're going to blood type yourself, because quite honestly, a lot of people have no clue how to blood type themselves, or what blood type they have. So what you're seeing here is a sterile alcohol prep pad. When you come in and do this particular lab, I want you to grab one of these first. And the reason is because we need to sterilize your dirty, nasty little fingers so that way we don't contaminate things and get you some kind of nasty infection that's going to send you to the hospital. So I like to use my pointy finger, and the pointy finger I'm just going to rub down a little bit with the alcohol pad. It does not burn. Please do not get already paranoid and weird about this whole thing, but there is my finger that's now been sterilized. So a couple of things that I want to get and have ready is this blood type card, and what you're seeing here on the blood type card is a well that says A, and then down here in the bottom corner that one says B. And then over here on the right hand side you'll see RH, and that RH of course is the positive or the negative. So the magic here is to get enough blood into each one of these wells so that way I can start adding the anti-serums to them and be able to figure out what my blood type is supposed to be. Alright, so you're going to find a box that will look something like this. It will just say disposable lab and blood typing slides. Again, you're going to have to make your own schedule to come in and do this particular lab, and you'll find that typically in the front during the week that we will ask you to come in at some point and do this. Next up, we're also going to have to find this thing called a AccuCheck. Safety Pro. I know it's a little fuzzy and I'm sorry, but that AccuCheck is going to have our lancets in it, and this is what the lancet looks like, and this is what's going to prick your finger at a certain point. All right, so the way that you use the lancets, down here at the end you're going to see a blue piece of plastic. And when you see that piece of plastic, I don't want you to grab and just yank it out. All right. If you do that, you have a chance that you're going to go ahead and activate the little syringe on the inside, or the needle, and that needle is just going to go ahead and just shoot on out, and then it's ruined. So the best way to remove these plastic tips is to grab a hold of them, and you're going to give them a twist. So when you give them a twist like that, you will feel it loosen up, and then you can pull it on out without any force or without kind of anything pulling against you at that moment. So my needle tip has not been dislodged. It's still in there. It's spring activated. It's ready to go. And then up here on the top of this lancet, you're going to find a big blue button. And that big blue button is what's going to activate the needle tip, and it's going to poke your finger, and then you're going to get some blood. Alright, so I've already cleaned my finger off with some alcohol or an alcohol pad, and now I'm just going to kind of do this number, and the reason is because I want to work my circulation up a little bit. I want those kind of blood cells nice and flowing and good and juicy, so that way I'm not going to have a problem milking myself when I put this onto the blood plate down below. So I'm just going to simply do this. Maybe you can see it a little bit better once the blood goes in, and we're just going to keep on a mushing and keep on a squeezing. And I'm going to take the lancet,
and I'm going to, I like to do the tip of my finger, so that way I can really squeeze it out a little bit better than kind of on the side. So I'm going to bear down on the blue plunger, and that's all it is, folks. And look at there, I'm already bleeding. Now I'm going to take a couple of drops of blood, and I'm going to put it into each one of these wells. Now for some of you, you are going to be able to milk yourself very easily. And when I say that, I mean some of us are very free bleeders, and I'm not. I have to work it a little bit in order to get some blood into each one of these wells. So, you know, I want to say it's not very painful. But you're going to feel it. It's going to be a little prick or a little pinch. It's not a big deal. People do this year after year after year. We've not had anyone to pass out or faint over it yet. But you're going to have to end up doing 2 or 3 drops of blood into each one of these wells. All right, so there is my blood, and my blood is there waiting for my anti-serums. And in the next video, I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer, and I'm going to show you a little bit more about what happens when we add the anti-serums. The anti-serums are going to look like this. They're going to be in a dropper bottle. So they're going to be labeled. You're going to see anti-B on this particular name, yellowish in color. And then this one is anti-A, and that's going to be bluish in color. And then this one is going to be anti-RH, which gives me my positive or my negative. So that one has no color at all. It's just a clear solution. So in the next video, I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to get a little bit closer on the blood wells when I add my anti-serums to them. That way you can see them a little bit better.
See, I told you it wasn't that bad. Look how easy that was. And we are only asking you to come into the laboratory just for a few minutes to do this lab, and this can be an easy 100 for you. So again, do not freak out, but here I've zoomed in a little bit closer to the blood well so you can see it. I've also put it more in focus to the blood wells so that way you can see me getting ready to add the anti-serums to them. But guys, I promise you it does not hurt. It will be a very quick, somewhat painless. I mean, again, it's not going to hurt that drastically. You'll feel it, but it will be very brief. It will just be like a little prick. That's all that it will be. So do not freak out on me over this. I promise you, people kind of work this up to something that it's not. So in this video, we're going to already deliver our sample, but now we're going to be adding our anti-serums to the wells.
All right, so picking up from where we left off, there's my blood in the blood wells, and I'm going to take the anti-A serum, and I want to make sure I do not cross-contaminate, so please be careful with that when you do it. And then with the anti-serum, I'm just going to add a few drops, like 2 or 3, 1, 2, 3. You want enough to make it watery, and if it dries out or if it gets a little solid or a little crusty, then just add a little bit more anti-serum to them. It needs to stay as a liquid solution in order for this process to work the proper way. So here I'm going to take my anti-B serum, and once more I'm just going to add 1, 2, 3 drops, give or take a little bit, get them all nice and juicy. And then finally my RH factor, and that is the clear one, and it will say anti-RH on the label when you do them. I want you to keep in mind that these are real anti-serums, so what you'll be using is actually real stuff. And the reason that I say that is because a lot of people make an assumption that what we do in here is simulated, but it's not. It is real things most of the time. All right, so next up, I want to take just some good old-fashioned toothpicks. I mean, nothing special here at all. And I'm going to take 3 toothpicks, and I need to mix these, at least in the beginning. So I'm going to take a toothpick, and I'm just going to kind of give it a good squiggle, squiggle, squiggle. And I like to cover the entire well when doing that. And then down here at the bottom, I'm going to do the same for B. And I'm just going to squiggle, squiggle, squiggle. And that covers that entire well. And now over here at the RH. So at the RH, I'm going to squiggle, 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 and fill up again the entire well. All right. So now what's got to happen is that I've got to let these sit at least for a couple of minutes. I'm going to say 2 to 3 minutes at least. And what's happening is that the anti-serums are now reacting with your blood cells. And you'll know if you're positive for A or for B, or maybe for both A and B, or maybe you're not positive for either. And you'll also know if you're positive for the RH, so positive or negative. So A positive, A negative, B positive, B negative, and so forth, if these wells begin to clump. So I'm going to stop the video here. In the next one, we're going to come back and we're going to take a look closer of these wells, and I'm going to kind of show you maybe what a positive sample is supposed to look like. And again, if you're O negative, you're not going to see anything. But if you're AB positive, you're going to see everything agglutinate, or everything get really clumpy and kind of nasty on you. All right, so again, I'm going to kind of stop the video. We'll come back 2 to 3 minutes and we'll see what this thing looks like.
All right, so as you notice, I did mix them with a toothpick and smear them in the wells. I just think that I get better visuals if I do this. A lot of people just add the drops and let it sit, and then they will look at it a little bit later. But I feel about kind of mixing them, get them in the jacuzzi tub, get them to know each other, and smearing them across the entire surface. It actually reacts quicker, I think, and I see it a little bit better when it's time to read the card. So in this particular video, you're going to see my test results, and we're going to talk about what is going on, what do I see, and what does that mean as a test result.
All right, guys, this lab is almost finished. I promised you it was going to be short and sweet. It just needed a little sacrifice from your fingers. So here's a close-up of my well A. I've let this sit just for a couple of minutes. And if I begin to rock it back and forth, you're going to see a very liquidy solution, right? I mean, nothing is agglutinating, nothing is clumping. I don't see any kind of spots that's here that's trying to separate or really kind of precipitate. They don't really precipitate, but at least clump together. I don't really see that at all. So what this means is probably not blood type A. All right, well, if I go down to B, and I do the same thing, you can see B a little bit better. It's very watery, it's very uniform, there's no clumping that's going on at all, and that probably means that I am not blood type B either. So I am not A and I am not B, which means that I am blood type O based on this particular test. And then finally, this is what an actual positive sample is going to look like. As you can see, the blood is not uniform throughout the entire well. I really do have like clumps that's beginning to form. I see almost like, I like to call it a lava lamp effect. So a lot of these are kind of staying together in smaller clumps or bigger clumps, and it doesn't look anything like that. So that means that I have agglutinated in the RH well. I'm starting to see clumps of my blood. And keep in mind that if they gave me the wrong blood, this is what would go on inside of my body as my body would try to fight all of that new incoming blood that doesn't match mine or is not compatible with mine. This begins to happen throughout head to toe. So this is agglutination, and that is what that is supposed to look like. So based on what I would say my test results are, it looks like I am going to be blood type O positive. And this is a very common blood type. It's not the universal donor, that's O negative, but that also means I'm not a universal acceptor either. That doesn't work either. So O positive is going to be my blood type. That's what I'm going to write down on my data sheet. And at the end of this kind of particular lab, when you do it, we want you to go ahead and take a picture of the blood well
so that way we can make sure that you read your own blood type the proper
way. All right. So that's it with this particular lab. Again, very short, very sweet. We just want you to come in, go through the motions, figure out what your own blood type is using real antibodies. And after that, we will begin blood typing other people's blood samples in a different part of the lab experiment. Also, when you are done with this particular lab experiment, I want you to please do not throw your samples away in a regular trash.
So as the last part of that video, and I'm going to save you a couple of minutes here, I'm just going to stop it. The last part of that video is going to show you a biohazard trash can. It is a very small trash can that we will keep near the blood topping area. And whenever you get done with your toothpicks, the blood topping slides, anything that's come in contact with blood from you, that needs to go into the biohazard trash bag. Do not put that into the regular trash can at all. We don't know what kind of nasties that you're carrying. We don't know what's inside your body. And we just want to be safe and we want to be protective of that whole thing. Both us and our custodial staff and you. So for that reason, throw them away in the biohazard trash can. That is a trash can that will basically be labeled with the big biohazard sticker that you'll see here. Very easy to identify, not a problem at all. And then finally, this is kind of what you're looking for when you blood type yourself. So here's another blood card. This did not agglutinate or clump in well A. This did agglutinate though in B, and we did not get agglutination in RH. So this probably means that this particular blood sample is going to be type B and negative. So B minus is going to be the answer to that particular question if you see that in some lab activities. Here are going to be just examples of what you would see. So O positive, here's anti-D, that is the RH well. So we did not agglutinate or clump in A or B, but we did that in D. So that is a O positive. That is what I just tested for. O negative would be no agglutination at all. But we can have something like AB negative. So I agglutinate in A and I agglutinate in B, but I don't really clump at all in RH. So I'm going to see clumping both in well A and B, which means I'm an AB blood type, and I'm an AB negative in that particular case. That's in the next to last line there for us to analyze. So just get used to this. You're going to see this in a lot of the questions, maybe online or on a data sheet. You'll have to go through, you'll have to kind of ID what is what's going on. And it's a very easy thing to kind of look at quickly and know exactly what's going on. As long as you know that clumping is a positive type of test that we are trying to measure and report. All right, so that is the first portion of this lab experiment. And in the first portion, I would like for you to come in and do that sometime in the first week of class. It's often, again, the first module that we get to, the first module that we discuss. It will take a few minutes out of your time. It's not going to take a lot. So just set aside like 30 minutes or something. Come in very quickly. Everything's going to be ready to go. And the only thing that you've got to do is just prick your finger, put some drops in some wells, add some anti-serums, and see where you clump. And please, 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 please take a picture. All right. A picture is going to be required, and you're going to have to upload that picture into Canvas as proof that you did it, and proof that we can kind of compare your answer to what we see in the blood well. There is a chance that I might not be with you during that time. Someone else might be with you at that time. And I'm going to be the one that's going to be reviewing and grading these things anyway. So I'll need you to take a picture with your cell phone showing what's clumping and what's not. So typically one picture can do that, and upload that picture into Canvas when you submit this first laboratory assignment. Now, this is only part A of the lab. We're going to do part B of the lab as well. Part B is blood typing other people. So I'm going to have real blood samples. We're going to go through the motion of blood typing those as well. And that will also be filmed and recorded, and and you'll be able to see those. And then I'm going to show you a few options that we can do. If not this plastic card, what are some other things that are out there that maybe are more applicable or that's more modernized that we can use to blood type ourselves or someone else? So we'll discuss that in part B. And until then, good luck, grit your teeth, squint your eyeballs, and then just do it. I promise you it's not as bad as what you're making it out to be. So at some point, I'll see you in the lab. Please send me an email to let me know when you're going to kind of pop in and do this. Or you're more than welcome to kind of do this in a lab period with us, a CTC course that you are doing, and let's say there's some wait time and you want to go ahead and blood type yourself. Absolutely, you are more than welcome to do that. So for instance, if you're taking this course with our instrumentation class and you are meeting in person in that instrumentation lab period, then if you've got some downtime or if you want to do it kind of quickly after that lab, do it. I mean, we're here, might as well. That will save you a trip coming in on an alternative time and date. All right, so guys, good luck. I hope you have fun, if that's a word, with this particular lab, but I hope you do have fun. And if you don't know your blood type, well, guess what? You'll know your blood type after this. So that way you'll know it from here on out. And I think that you'll remember pricking your finger in our lab from here on out. So I'll see you in the lab. Good luck, and let me know if you got any questions. And then we'll come back for part B.